Hey everyone, we're BruVue. I'm Chris, co-founder and CEO, and this is Mike, my co-founder with BruVue, and we are tapping into data with the Internet of Things. Go for the clicker. There we go. Our team has decades of experience from robotics to cloud development to finance and even beer. BruVue started when Mike, my co-founder, called me up one day in frustration with a problem.
My boss called me one day and asked me to do an inventory check in all my accounts. That meant I had to give him all kinds of answers that I had no idea. He wanted to know, when was that keg tapped? How fast was that beer selling? When is that keg going to kick? And most importantly, how much beer is left inside that keg? I tried calling my accounts. Most of them didn't answer. The ones that did had no idea. Ultimately, I had to drive account to account, walk in their cooler, lift and shake these heavy kegs, and say, yeah, 32%, that's good. It's not an accurate method at all. The inability to know how much beer is left inside a keg creates problems for the entire beer ecosystem. Breweries have no way to track their ads or product performance at the taps. Distributors have no way of knowing their inventory levels in the field. Bar owners lose on average $12,000 a year due to waste and theft from poor inventory.
BruVue has solved this problem. We are the only draft inventory system on the market where bar owners can order their sensors online, receive them in the mail, drop them on their faucets, and set them up in minutes. For distributors and breweries, our technology is built right inside the tap handle, so they can monitor product performance in the field in real time. Our system was built from the ground up, from hardware and firmware to cloud and analytics. But from concept through creation, we've relied on open tools to make this possible. Connected tap handles are just the beginning. The future of the supply chain is exciting and full of innovation, from robotic warehouses self-picking their own inventory, to self-driving delivery vehicles, to robotic bartenders making great recommendations. But all of these systems need data to be possible. BruVue sensors are the neurons bringing the cognitive supply chain to life. For the intelligent brewery, our data helps these breweries understand what consumers are drinking today in order to predict what they will drink tomorrow. For autonomous vehicles, our data helps them reroute based on a bar kicking the most kegs on a Friday night. And for marketers and advertisers, BruVue's data helps them validate their digital and geographically targeted ads in real time based on product performance at the taps. We're already working with some of the largest names in beer to bring these innovative systems to life, from franchises and stadiums to distributors and brewers. At BruVue, we believe the beer supply chain is one of the last to be fundamentally disrupted by technology. And we believe we can do this by tapping into data. But we need your help to get this data connected with those who can benefit from it most. So if you know somebody that would be interested in investing or partnering with BruVue, please tell them to come check us out at table 73. Thank you.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm thirsty right now.
All right, let's have some questions for our judges about BruVue.
So tell me how you're going to make money.
We're software as a service, and for bar owners, we sell them our sensors and system for $15 per sensor per month.
And then do you replace it when it goes bad?
The batteries last about a year, and so it's sort of yearly maintenance for the bar. It's a little coin cell battery that you can find at Walmart or Home Depot.
I'm interested in how it works. There's a sensor on the top, but can you tell us more about the technology? That's one question. My second one is, for the example that you gave of a loss of $12,000 per year, what kind of revenue does that same type of, actually, they're losing that. How much does it cost them with your sensor? So 2 questions.
Yep. So our technology is it's all based on motion sensing. So we're really good at taking the motion of that tap handle and then using that data over time to understand how quickly that tap handle is pouring and how much beer is left in the keg. And we connect that with other points of data, such as when that keg was put on tap, when it was switched with the next tap, how many seconds the tap handle was open, those sorts of things. As far as the $12,000 a year in loss, most of that comes from either waste, theft, or inventory management related costs. So typically when this goes on a faucet and a bartender sees it and goes, oh, you mean you know exactly when I poured what? And it says, yes, my beer inventory is very important to me. So it's changing behaviors in terms of pouring more carefully, not forgetting to ring it up at the point of sale, but in the same stroke, it's helping get management out of the cooler shaking these kegs to do the weekly inventory.
Well, it's nice to be talking about something tangible. So it would seem that the bar owner assumes very little proportionally of the inventory risk in the food chain, that the wholesalers would accept a lot more of that risk, or the brewers rather than the retailer in this scenario. So what does the wholesaler get out of this, and are the savings there? Should they be paying? I'm just interested in why you charge a bar owner as opposed to somebody else in the food chain, and where the burden really is in terms of cost and savings.
It's a push and pull. The biggest benefits for a wholesaler or distributor are inventory management and being able to practice lean supply chain. You need to know what inventory you have out in the field in order to predict and order the next inventory you need on hand. In the beer industry, there are also some laws tied up in terms of what distributors and breweries can give of value to bar owners. So that's also been weaved into our system and kind of influenced how we're going to market. But I think there's tension in the supply chain as well in terms of, perhaps if a product goes to the bar and the bar says, this doesn't move, this product didn't sell, I want the distributor to eat that cost. I think you could probably speak to who's responsible for pouring unmoved beer down the drain.
It's the account. It's their own loss.
I like how software is eating beer now, which is really cool. I'm trying to form a question because previous questions were a lot of things I was thinking. I guess maybe one slightly unrelated thing. So open source based, right? You sort of had a slide on that. Mm-hmm. I have somewhat of a philosophical disagreement in that I think it's amazing you use open source projects to build your SaaS offering. My kind of definition for an open source company is sort of where there's a core project that the company is based on, as opposed to building on an open source language or a framework or a library or a runtime or like all the different projects you mentioned. So I guess maybe, I don't know, extrapolating, would it ever make sense to have like some part of your core SaaS offering as an open source project? Would that ever even make sense in the beer supply chain like industry? I presume there aren't like developers in this industry like looking at hacking on this kind of application, right?
I think there could be opportunity there, and we're definitely open to open source. There's plenty of folks that have kegerators at home that have even approached us this week that would love to have access to this type of technology and just hack away on. So, our startup was born from hacking and tinkering on things, so we definitely support that.
Cool, thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the wild card round.